representative in Nebraska is trying to tell people that they don't get to have universal health care. And he tries to use this very manipulative way to get people to hate each other instead of hate the oligarchs who make health care so expensive. 100% more expensive in the United States than the rest of the Western world. And let's listen. So this is in Nebraska. Remember, this is in Nebraska. Ready?
It talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care.
So they're booing him for saying this. Now, because they know that when they lose their job, they lose their health care. And a lot of people want to work, but when they lose their job, they have to go on Medicaid. And so having this requirement that you have to have a job to be on Medicaid kind of goes against the stopgap what it's supposed to be. Anyway, so these are people in Nebraska that are booing him. And by the way, that's very manipulative. How many 28-year-olds do you know who, A, don't want to work, and B, use a lot of health care? What? I don't know any 28-year-olds who are using up the health care. So this is just another way to keep you paying 100% more for your health care than the rest of the world. And what? Go ahead, Kurt, turn up Kurt.
And I get fucked anyway. How about that?
What? Say it again, Kurt?
But if I am working and I paid into healthcare and I get fucked anyway.
That's right.
What is he even talking about?
Because these are all people who are working, who have health care, and then when they go to use it, they get screwed. I had a kidney stone. The lady walks in, the first person they send in my room is the lady from the office who's got to take my $3,500 copay. I have insurance. I've been paying thousands and thousands of dollars. I spend at least 10 grand a year alone on myself just for insurance.
Yeah. China has better health care.
So then when I get sick, I got to go spend another $3,500 copay. So now I'm almost 14 grand into my health care. And guess what? I got a bill from the fire department for an ambulance ride. They drove me literally 2 miles. They charged me $2 grand.
Wow.
I didn't know that the fire department sends you a bill. I thought I paid taxes, and that's what paid for the ambulance. I'm a sucker.
It doesn't even put water in the hydrants if your house burns down. So now we're up to 16 grand. I paid, and I just had one thing, a kid. And then I got to pay for the anesthesiologist. I got to pay for the follow-up copay to go see the doctor. I got to pay for the radiology. I got to pay all this. I got to pay for the drugs at the pharmacy. So if they send the cops to my house, I don't get a bill from the police department. If they send the fire truck to put out a fire at my house, I don't get a bill. Why do I get a bill if they have to send me an ambulance? I didn't know. I thought you only got billed from private ambulances. I got a $2,000 bill to drive 2 miles. I don't even know if it's 2 miles. It's not that far from my house. That's over $1,000 a mile. So let's get back to this video because he keeps trying these. It sounds like he's doing bad comedy and they're not landing, but he sticks to his jokes. Watch. So this is a guy trying to get you to hate your neighbor. This made-up person who's 28 years old, fully able-bodied, doesn't want to work, but still wants health care. If they don't work, they're broke.
You know, and I just want to make
so the person's already broke. So who are these people who are 28 years old, able-bodied, but they're using up all our health care? Who are these people?
I also want
they're called people who don't exist. What did you want to say?
I just want to say that the point is people have families. So he's saying you're not working now. You nor your family can get health care. It's like, what kind of person are you? What kind of nefarious person are you that you want to deny health care to people?
And the people booing him over this are people from Nebraska. You know those far left commie hippie radicals in Nebraska? You know, the overall wearing, straw chewing, tractor driving farmers who bring us all our food are asking Americans who actually this. So he's got more to say. They're booing him.
Okay. So here's a question. Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care?
Yeah, they're like, hey, guess what? We all should have health care. This garbage of divvying up health care and having co-pays and me pay $20,000 a year to an insurance company that doesn't cover me when I get... We should get rid of all this garbage. We should all have health care. Because if we all had universal health care, if we all had Medicare, it would actually reduce what we pay for health care, everybody, by half, by 50%. But because we give it to private companies that don't cover you anyway, we pay twice as much as the rest of the Western world. And
I don't think that a majority of Nebraskans agree with you.
yeah, the majority of Nebraskans, they love their health care. The only people who love their health care and their health insurance are people who've never had to use it. Again, one kidney stone. I'm 16, 17, 18 grand out of pocket. Do you think that if we had Medicare for all, you'd be paying higher taxes than 18 grand a year for your health care? Because you wouldn't. So I love this guy tweets out, he says, universal health care is such a complex beast that only 32 of the world's 33 developed nations have been able to make it work. And people say, well, you got to wait for stuff. Like in Canada, they have to wait. You know, when I had my gallbladder, I had a gallbladder attack, thought I was dying. They said it's a gallbladder attack and it's going to happen again. You have to get it taken out. So the last thing I wanted to was to go through that again. So I called to make an appointment with a surgeon. I couldn't get an appointment just to talk about the operation for a month. And then we'd have to schedule it for another month. And I'm like, I'm going to have another gallbladder attack. So I had to go out of my insurance network and pay out of my own pocket to find a surgeon who would take me sooner. So I was going to have a 2-month wait. So this idea that you don't have waits in the United States is just crazy. When I had my occipital neuralgia, which I got from my vaccine injury, which is nerve damage, I had to go see a neurologist. It took me 2 months just to get an appointment. 2 months in California, in Los Angeles, to see a neurologist. Reminder, left-wing dark money orgs astroturf these phony protests in response to Trump and House Republicans. So that's what they're saying. So all those people booing him, they're just crazy lefties from Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's what people are saying. That's what they're saying. They only say they want to sit in on their lazy ass and have others pay for their way. Make this a commercial. Most Americans are sick and tired of the freeloaders. The reason why you're screwed over on health care isn't because of the 28-year-old healthy people who don't use health care. You're screwed over because we live in an oligarchy that wants to extract money from you when you're sick. And that's why you pay 100% more than the rest of the Western world. Nothing is free. I'm not working my butt off to pay for freeloaders. So that's how they keep you thinking that the problem with healthcare is your neighbor. The problem with the healthcare is not your neighbor. The problem with healthcare is we have vampires and parasites that charge us double and then deny us service that we've paid for when we get sick. That's the problem.
They think you're a freeloader, the guy that paid for insurance.
We always hear about the freeloaders, but we never hear about the expense loaders. And they're the ones who really bite you in the ass. So these people cheering for free health care for 28-year-olds who refuse to work are the people who live in their mom's basement and will not work. Okay, so they live in their mom's basement, they won't work, but they're going to go out to a political rally? Here's the thing, genius. Everyone will get health care. And if they end up sick, they walk into an emergency room. They will be treated. And then guess who pays for that? You do. So the law is you can't deny someone health care at an emergency room. So if we had universal health care, they could go to a less expensive form of health care than an emergency room. And when they do go to the emergency room, guess who pays for it? You do, in higher premiums and through your taxes. So let me read this to you. And then guess who pays for that? You do, with much higher premiums, which is why the insurance companies are laughing all the way to the bank, because you idiots are always being gaslit by, it's not just the GOP, it's the Democrats too, by the establishment against your own interests. This isn't a Democrat-Republican issue. This is not. They are both bought and paid for by health insurance and Big Pharma. This is not a GOP. This is not that. It has been proven time and time again and documented through countless empirical studies that cheap, low-cost health care for those without it lowers the cost of health care for everyone. And it makes for a healthier society, and it makes people much more productive and able to function in the economy. But you people are always gaslit by the establishment. You're always voting because of your, okay, I don't want to go through that.
By the way,
he mixes things in.
Mike Flood.
So this guy's pretending so this guy's problem is he's pretending, this guy Charlie Sweeney gets a lot of right. The part he gets wrong is that he's pretending the Democrats are the answer to this, and only the GOP and Republicans are keeping you from health care. That is, you, sir, have drunk the Kool-Aid.
Obama did this to us worse than we were before.
Obama did this to us. He promised you a public option. You never got it. He said, I would not sign a health care bill that doesn't have a public option. And then he did. And so now you don't get to buy into Medicare. You have to go buy a product from a corporation that's going to screw you over when you get sick. Obama did that. Obama, Project 2025 came from the Heritage Foundation. Barack Obama's health care plan, Obamacare, came from the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, we were ahead of schedule with that one.
BS. So many Americans work their entire life just to get shit health care that bankrupts them. That's why those people are cheering, because they know that. We all work our ass off, and then we get sick. We end up paying $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 out of our pocket, which people don't do in other countries. So the non-existent people are cheering for non-existent people.
I guess, clearly your vote doesn't count.
The people cheering are tired of watching the super rich getting everything they want and hardworking Americans getting effed over by politicians protecting the donor class. Because that's what that is. Those people are falling for that bullshit line that the reason why you're paying too much for healthcare is because of a healthy 28-year-old. That's what that guy's trying to tell you. The reason why your health care and you're being screwed over when you get sick is because of healthy 28-year-olds who don't use health care. If they're healthy, then they won't use health care.
Well, I'm super grateful I won't be forced to accept an mRNA gene therapy, I guess. Thanks, U.S. Thanks, America. That's worth it.
So that's why those people are booing him and cheering when he says we should give everybody health care, even that 28-year-old healthy guy. They're cheering because they've experienced the healthcare system. They've worked their ass off their entire life, and then when they get sick, they go bankrupt anyway. They know this is a rigged system.
You want to hear how rigged? Mike Flood, do you know who he beat? I texted you. He beat Carol Blood. Was his Democrat opponent. And if you look at the pictures I texted you, I believe that it's the same person. I believe he was Mike Flood and Carol Blood, I think, are the same person.
Totally look like it.
That was your choices in their election. Flood and Blood.
Blood and blood.
It couldn't be more of a wrestling show.
The people are like, do you want the people running your healthcare who did COVID? They already are. Who do you think
what Israel gets?
Who do you think, Joe, just like Israel, the big pharma told the president to do vaccine mandates, to shut down the economy, to have mask mandates, to close schools? Who do you think did that? That was Big Pharma telling you that through Dr. Fauci. That was Big Pharma. Who do you think had them mandate that? You think that the money's in it for the Big Pharma? They already are. What I want to do is get we get an insurance company, a capitalist, out from in between me and my doctor. So will it be perfect? Is Medicare perfect? No, but everybody on Medicare loves it way more than private insurance. That's why everybody goes on it. And if Medicare is such a bad deal, why don't they give us the public option, which is allowing you to buy into Medicare instead of paying money to a private insurance company like Blue Cross or Aetna? Why don't they let the market decide? Why can't I buy into Medicare? If it's so bad, let me buy into it. They won't do that because they know everyone will, and that'll be the end of private insurance as we know it. That's why. If they really believed that private health insurance was better than Medicare, they would allow you to buy into Medicare. But they don't. And that's the biggest tell right there. Okay.
It turns out, Jimmy, the biggest freeloaders are the U.S. politicians who get health care on our dime.
That's right. They get health care.
They don't have to get Obamacare. Remember, they were going to make them subject to the care we got, and they made sure not to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let those people think that the problem with you and healthcare is your healthy neighbor. 28-year-old healthy guys. That's the problem with health insurance. That's why I'm paying 100% more. That's why when I get sick, I got to pay 20 grand out of my pocket because there's a healthy guy somewhere. That makes absolutely no sense. But it's able to push. It gets you to hate your neighbor. Freeloaders. I don't want to pay for a freeload. You're paying for them anyway. You already pay
Israel.
You already pay 100% more than the rest of the world for your health care. And then when you get sick, you go bankrupt anyway.
Well, you know what they say, Jimmy. God blesses those who bless Israel and don't pay for health care for their own citizens who paid for Israel.
Yeah, we're sending billions of dollars to Israel. They have health care. We don't.
Oh, we're paying pensions and health care for Nazis in Ukraine.
Okay, that's it for today. Steph has some super chats. Kurt, we'll see you on Monday, I guess.
Yep, I got to go to show. Boy, what a terrible day of terrible news. Except for this Mike Flood and Carol Blood thing is amusing. All right, bye, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, here we go. Think about all the extra money we could give to the military if we had universal health care, Giraffe Rider.
Funny.
Funny and sick. Harris got the Lincoln Northeast vote. Thank you for that, Stoop sign, and I appreciate the link. I had a gallbladder attack, worst pain ever. I didn't have insurance. The doctor openly resented me and told me to go home until I got my insurance figured out. I shamed her and forced the surgery. Jay Devara. Whoa. Not to mention when I want to get true health care from a naturopathic or holistic doctor, I have to pay out of pocket because my health care only covers sick care and docs who push prescriptions. A kid of heart. You got that right. Jimmy, I agree with you 100% about why we're overcharged for our health care. Unfortunately, I know from my experience, many people in their 20s these days require more health care than I do in my 40s. Venus, oh, that is tragic. All right, big screen camera 4, please. I want to know how many of these politicians and media personalities pushing the vax either lied about getting it or made sure they only got a placebo. M. Deschelle, thank you for that, M. Deschelle. Hey, Misha. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Misha, did I record that thing?
Does he need to do an outro or anything?
Should I do it later? Yeah, the one script is good.
But you can do it right now. Ready for it.
I just need a background for you.
You don't even have to do that.
Oh, it's just an audio.
Yeah.
I'll do it later.
Okay, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at us. You can come back to Steffi Z. That looks like that's it for us today. Resist much, obey little. But remember, I am better than you. Ha ha, bye.